have seen a little bit of a change around from our expected composition here as they do go ahead and lock in Power's Fiora up top.
Do you think they're concerned, Riku, that they've seen this cat ball composition too many times, that they've played it against Flash Wolves, that Flash Wolves will have prepared an answer for this?
Yeah, probably. That is most likely the reason why they're opting for maybe is we're not going for the Catball, we're not going for the Orianna Rengar. We're just going to play Shaw as the Ziggs and put our strengths elsewhere. Look at this from FENNEL. They are basically stealing the Varus away because this could have been the double poke composition. Wow. Varus and Corki row. Bruce is going to be on that Corki. So I love the switcheroo, but I feel like Flash Wolves is going to adjust eventually, play something else for Bruce.
And this Braum for Rafa is actually huge because there's so much on Flash Wolf that shield interrupts. You want to be playing Corki dumping damage? Too bad. You want to throw out a tidal wave? Too bad. You want to throw out an explosive cask? Too bad. Rafa can eat it all with his Braum shield. So it's actually an incredibly important pick. FENNEL, I think, have drafted very well into Flash Wolves, the team that normally comes out on top of this draft. I do want to flag. They get that Aurelia on Flash Wolves again. They got that Corki. That's going to be a really big late-game power spike for them that they didn't have during game number 1.
Going back to that point then, TJ, do you think that the initial read, imagining that the cat ball comp was going to come out, was right? That was the right approach? Go Gragas, go Corki. Let them then decide, okay, I'll be going for the Fiora 4-1 split. I'll be actually full committing to this team fight because they are, for the best part here, pretty much running it back how that best of 5 series started off last time. This is nothing new. If you watch that series between FENNEL University and Flash Wolves, they have run Ziggs and Varus before. They outranged you, they locked you in place. If you came at them, the concussive blows then shut you down. So whilst the Aurelia looks good in theory, I imagine, to try and target those squishy backline members, one tag, and he might be out here, TJ.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of mind games here. I think the kind of experience these two teams have had against each other is allowing FENNEL to fake out Flash Wolves.
Beautiful. Well, with that in mind, let's see where game number 2 goes. Let's throw it back to our casting team.
Thank you so much, Des Kimmy. We're looking to see how game number 2 between FENNEL University and Flash Wolves is going to play Alan Gaminism. With me is Omo, who's still riding that Flash Wolves copium train, trying to make sure that Flash Wolves might be able to take this series away. And when all else fails, Omo, you bring in the Corki, you make something happen with that Dragon Lane pickup.
Well, let me tell you, Gaminism, this train is so close to derailing right now. I do really like the Corki pickup for Flash Wolves because it fits exactly what they want to do. And what do they want to do, Gaminism? Nothing. They just want to AFK and scale, and Corki is the perfect champion for that. We just need to see how he plays through the lane. I also really do like that we get more active champions for Ysera, this tank Gragas, and for Cookie on the Zid. We might see a level 1 invade here though. Rengar's going in, and Cookie has to give up his jungle.
No, I mean, this is perfectly in line with what we see for FENNEL University. This is how they like to play when they grab that Rengar, and the fact that he's also running footwork kind of gives some indication for what they're trying to do. So Cookie's going to dodge away from all of that. You know, you had some criticism for his Olaf, say he can't get much done. Well, the alternative is he does not require you to babysit him. He's going to be able to do whatever he needs to get done on his own side of the map. And looking back at this once again, Omar, we're looking at Bruce with the Aurelia. He had this champion last game. You know, he had some pretty good moments, but wasn't able to carry the game. Do you feel like this is going to matter in this second one, or is it just going to be the same case?
I think it's going to be better because now he doesn't need to carry the game. He has locking on Corki as the late game insurance. And if he wants to do what he's been doing, which is to be the tempo setter, to be the fight starter for his team, he can definitely do that because, so in theory at least, Locking should be able to clean up these fights if he dashes in and dies, right? The only problem I foresee here is Flash Wolves do not have an answer to the mid to late game split push from FENNEL University. When you get Fiora on a side lane, Corki clearing waves, and the Rengar ultimate just running into the side lane that Fiora is on, no one can hold that. Gragas can't hold that. Aurelia can't hold that. You're just gonna die whoever you send there. And once again, though Flash Wolves have the team fight scaling in their favor, they're gonna get outside lane. And we saw what happened last game when they got outside lane.
We see as well Ysera playing towards the tank Gragas, you know, not really going for the AP route. And we've had some discussion about this before, where they have to go for the Renekton in order for them to get something done. That being said, we do see Flash Wolves walking down to the bottom side. Unfortunately, they've been spotted out. There's a lot of intel granted to FENNEL University, and things are looking not too great for the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, Flash Wolves just going to walk out of this one. It's just going to be a little bit of pressure down towards the Dragon Lane. I do like that Ysera's out trading in the early game though. Typically, you would see an AP Gragas into this Fiora to punish her lack of sustain. You just keep poking her out of the lane. But as a tank, Gragas, Ysera is still managing to get lane control and lane dominance, which is quite impressive to me, right? I said this Gragas was going to be a big pick for Flash Wolves. I think it fits their playstyle and their identity extremely well, and we see how well Ysera's doing on it.
Well, here we have it. Both extreme ends of the Flash Wolves, both the Baron lane and the Dragon lane, have been able to pick up some tempo. You can see Locking also shoving out the bottom side, so Danny and Rafa are going to have to recall. It's a very different showing from what we had last game. Danny playing that Kai'Sa was able to hyper carry them once they skilled up, whereas this time around it's going to be a very different case, playing towards the Varus. Yeah, talk us through a little bit about that.
This time around, they're hoping for the Domain show, right? They do like the Ziggs Varus combination, and I think that that's one of the most potent long-range poke comps in the game, right? It's definitely the best two champions in their roles in terms of poke, in terms of what they can do from long distances. This means that what they're looking to do is just chuck their spells out, use the Chains of Corruption, and then Domain goes in. And the Domain will try to kill everybody, and then you just keep throwing shit on top of him. That's the idea from FENNEL Adversity's team composition. And I think it's not a bad one. It's just that maybe if you want to all into the identity of poke comps, you might want something like the Xin Zhao, right? You might want some sort of disengage. Rengar goes in. He has his own empowered Raw to get out of the fights, but he's going to be very reliant on the team to chuck damage on top of him.
This is exactly what we're looking as well for Cookie, because, you know, he is playing as this Xin Zhao, looking to disengage, be that secondary form, a bit as the clutch breaks for Flash Wolves. You know, when all things are going a little bit too fast, he needs to be the one to slow it down, get some control, and get some tempo back. Do start to see FENNEL Adversity make their way towards the Rift Tower. It seems to be the objective of their choice. Some movements from Ysera, as well as the rest of Flash Wolves, to maybe try and deny this, but they may not go all so well. Danny almost gets caught by the Aqua Prison. That could have been pretty bad. Flash Wolves get the control around Rift Tower, though.
There's 5 here for Flash Wolves. They have to give this one up on the side of FENNEL Adversity. Corki is here with the package as well. But this means that Show on the Ziggs gets some free time here in the Dragon lane. He's going to be hitting this turret. I don't think he's going to be able to take this one down just yet, but he's going to get a lot of plates, a lot of farm advantages, and that swings the gold back in FLA's favor just a little bit. We'll wait for Flash Wolves to drop the Herald, though. That will be the big timing we need to look out for.
We'll see if this actually makes a difference. It does seem like FENNEL Adversity are here to play towards the Dragon now. Resets on Flash Wolves, so they're going to be a little bit late on the uptake towards Dragon. I think that is package picked up by the Corki, so this could be a pretty impactful fight for them. FENNEL Adversity bringing this down low. It's just down to 1,500. Now Tidal Wave coming in from a long distance away. It will be Show that secures it. Almost takes down the Corki as well. Locking barely survives, and now moving on to Rafe. Boost a little bit too far forward. They're going to have to flash away. Glacial Fissure on the out will take Flash Wolves down low.
Very iffy team fighting from Flash Wolves, right? We talk about how FLA, their comp, is not the best team fighting comp. But Flash Wolves, they still manage to botch the team fight somehow. Locking goes in, has to go out immediately, and Bruce, you know this guy, he loves to dive in on the Irelia, but maybe a tad bit too deep and too quickly. Once again, he gets caught out, he gets chunked out, has to flash out of the fight, and Flash Wolves, they are at a gold deficit right now. They still have the Rift Herald, but this is the big factor for them, right? Can we find something with this Herald?
For sure, and it wasn't even as if Domain was the one to get the Dragon, you know. It was pretty close. FENNEL Adversity, they ended up losing the Smite challenge. It was Show they collected the Dragon in the end. Flash Wolves had their window, had the opportunity. Unfortunately, they had to reset before that, so that cost them a little bit of time. We'll have to see if those minor timing windows are going to punish Flash Wolves even more. We saw Eason pop the Tidal Wave from a long distance away, trying to be a little bit ambitious, hoping that it'll clip them just in time.
Hoping that Rafi doesn't press his shield.
Yeah, hoping that Rafa won't see it coming and just pop the Unbreakable. And so a lot of things have to fall into place for Flash Wolves, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. However, next Dragon, Inferno, it could be a nice pickup for Flash Wolves who are looking to try and scale up into this late game.
They are indeed. The main thing we need to look out for is the Fiora factor, right? That's always going to give scaling to FENNEL Adversity because they always have the Fiora who can just end the game. Herald gets popped mid, but no follow-up. This is a bit sus.
Yeah, it just seems to end there. Very good response from FENNEL Adversity to collapse into the mid lane, you know, and be able to continue shoving out the bottom side as well. Show's going to be here. Should find his team first turret in the process. There we go. First turret over to FENNEL Adversity, and Flash Wolves losing the tempo game.
Losing the tempo game indeed, and we always talk about the lost cost, right? The sunken cost. If you go over to Rift Herald, you move your bot lane over, your opponent team, if they leave someone in the bottom lane, they can just chunk the turret. And since it's a Ziggs, we see how easily he just takes that one down. Show now 0-0-0, so is Bruce, but Show has the gold lead because he got all the plates, got the turret, and he's going to be a big boy Ziggs who's going to be happy in the mid to late stages of the game. And we talk about the two key components of this team comp. It's the Fiora and the Ziggs. The Ziggs is just going to sit mid and wave clear, and it's going to be so effective if he has the items to dish out poke while he's at it.
Talking about Ziggs items, we see the Twin Shadows enchantment completed first for show. How is this one deviating away from the standard build paths that we see from Ziggs?
Well, I feel like they don't feel threatened, right? They don't need the Johnny's Hourglass. They don't feel threatened by the dive coming in from Flash Wolves. The main thing they need to take note of is don't get flanked by Bruce, don't get cast by Ysera, and this Twin Shadows is going to let them land their poke. It's going to let Doming run people down more easily, and this is a nice little pickup. Good rotations from FENNEL Adversity. Look at where Power is standing right now, so respectful. This team is just playing really smart, really disciplined, and playing very coordinated.
Look at that, Flash Wolves, you know, they were 1 to 3 in the mid lane, but unfortunately couldn't even dive Danny, so really unable to find very much there. They dodge away from a decent amount. That's the Vanguard's edge, forced the Flash away from Power. Cookie's gonna come down to the bottom side as well. Let's see if they can look for a re-engage. They're gonna back away though. FENNEL University, they're so far away, but they choose not to go for it. Flash Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit uncharacteristic from Power. He went in a bit too aggressive. Although in his defense, he would have won the 1v1. It's just that his team's resources were spread a bit more thinly, and he was on the weak side of the map while Doming was pushing top. So that was a bit greedy from Power, but still he would have won that one, which is a worrying sign. Because if we go into the later stages of the game, this Fiora should just be able to stomp the Irelia in the side lane, at which point I would say Flash Wolves has no answer. Ooh, forces the package. That's huge.
Exactly. Uses the package just to get away from the Mega Infernal Bomb. It's not a great spot for Flash Wolves to be in. Infernal won't come up, so there we go. Started it off. Flash Wolves, the first one in the pit. Unfortunately, Ysera's going to take a decent amount of damage. That's the cast. They go for look for the knockout. They look for a little bit more damage on the Power, but it's barely enough to get the root off onto the Xin Chao. It's Cookie looking low. Power gets over the wall. One crit auto attack. Not enough from locking. They're chasing after, and they're moving on to the Dragon now. Flash was trying to reset. I can't quite decipher what they're trying to get done. Is Domain coming online. He assassinates him. He flashes out, gets away with murder.
And that is moment if you're on the Flash Wolves. You couldn't kill Power despite casting him into 5 members, and he gets out even though Locking flashes after him. That's gotta be a bummer for them. And Doming as well jumps in the middle of 3 people, kills one, gets out, gets away with murder. FENNEL Adversity, they are just sending a message. We are just that much better than you, Flash Wolves, and they are showing it here today.
Yeah, you gotta sit tight, strap in your seatbelts, and just wait for Flash Wolves to get into that point of power that they're looking for. It's really a FENNEL Adversity show. They're in the driver's seat. They're controlling the pace of the game. At some point, we'll see if Flash Wolves are gonna usurp them and try to get control. But for now, it really seems as if they're content with just purely farming it up, trying to get into this late game. And it's, well, I don't know, Omo. How do you feel about your predictions now?
Let's just say that my predictions are all but gone, and I'm just enjoying the show. I'm here for the ride, right? You remember last game when we were looking at Divinity Storm Buriram and you were kicking and screaming, Brandon, refusing to believe? I have accepted. I have accepted my fate. FENNEL Adversity, they are just a better team. They look good here today. And Flash Wolves, I don't think they can answer the aggression that FENNEL is outputting.
Sure, so we have the different stages of grief, and it seems as if I never quite managed to get over it. Yeah, you are in acceptance. It seems like Power's accepted that he's now far too powerful for Flash Wolves to deal with. Teleport coming in from Ysera. He's going to take a decent amount of damage right off the get-go. Dan is coming in as well. They force them off this turret, and Flash Wolves once again get nothing.
Flash Wolves, they are grasping at straws across the board. Every play they go for, they can't find. They go for Rift Herald, they get that one, but it barely does any damage to mid lane.
Whoa,
look at this, Eason has to use Tidal Wave to try to clear the wave.
And even then, Power dodges away from the Tidal Wave, so doesn't even get clipped by that. Good damage on the Rafe coming through from Cookie. Unfortunately, he likely might go down as well. He does have enough shielding from the Crescent Guard to stay alive, but then Bruce is jumping forward, Locky. He has to commit the barrier to survive, and this Corki pick isn't working out the way they hoped.
It is not indeed the Corki. He's getting outranged. We hoped for him to become a late game hyper carry. But honestly, it's brutal right now, Gaminism. He is just getting bullied. He's getting poked out. He can't even go up to auto attack. I don't think I've seen him auto attack more than a couple times in every team fight, right? Because he just gets so outranged. Show now has the death cap as well. The poke that we're talking about is just going to start raining down on Flash Wolves. I really, really like the Umbro Glaive here. for Danny. As Ysera's forced to flash, it's over, guys.
Yeah, this is it. There's no one that can deal with the Fiora split pushing anymore, especially not with Domain online as well. He's completed 2 items. Triforce and Essence Reaver, Rengar, you hate to see it. You hate to see it jumping on you. There's nothing that Loki can get done, especially since he had to go for the defensive option. For the offensive option. Look at his boots. Material threats. He won't even be able to deal with the physical damage coming through from the Rengar. He's just going to get popped.
Yep, he is indeed. I mean, he has the Valkyrie to keep him safe, right? But Rengar, when he gets on top of you, he will be able to buffer the damage. So he will at least shred some of your HP bar before you get away from you. He might not be able to 100 to 0 you. But that's what we talked about, right? The cat ball comp. You poke first, and once locking is low enough, Domain just gets him with 1 empowered skill 1, and that's probably all you need to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different. You don't have the Orianna, but it doesn't really matter as long as you have something to kind of pair together with the Rengar, right? You get some damage off, and the Rengar comes in to clean up shop.
Yep.
And it looks like FENNEL Adversity, they are so accustomed to that place now. They're very good at it, and now it seems to pay off dividends. Flash Wolves, they're still holding on, though, I have to say. And they're not out of the game yet. They're not out for the count. They're 4,000 behind, 2 dragons behind. But honestly, they are still scaling up, and it seems like they've accepted that's the playstyle they want to go for.
But look at this.
Meanwhile, Ysera's going to be down in the bottom side. 1 versus 1 up against Power. Takes a decent amount of damage. A couple more auto attacks. Won't be able to take him down. He's out of mana, so won't be able to chase on.
Smart move from Ysera to hug the wall so that his last vital doesn't get procced. But Power, we see him in full control. Complete control of this lane right now. If Flash will send more than one person down to defend that lane, FLA, they get Baron for free. And this is gonna be Dragon for free. Flash Wolves, they have no answer right now, right? This Rengar is just gonna shred neutral objectives. Look at the artillery cannons in the mid lane. Danny and Sho, they are just raining turrets and missiles down upon you. There's really nothing you can do on Flash Wolves. They can't even get access to the river before Dragon dies.
Yeah, Dragon's already gone. Flash Wolves have just walked in. They're just watching as the objectives are taken away before their eyes. That's 3 dragons in a row. Flash Wolves have been unable to contest, and it just seems like FENNEL Adversity are so much better at playing for these neutral objectives. Despite the fact that Flash Wolves traded in the early game to grab the Rift Arrow, they weren't able to convert that into more.
To put this whole series into context, that whole trade, I think, summarizes it quite well. Flash Wolves get Herald, use that to get 1 bang and barely half of mid lane turret health. While on the other hand, Sho just gets a whole turret to himself. The trades are so unfavorable for Flash Wolves. FENNEL Adversity, they are proving to be ahead of the curve. They're winning out at every moment Ysera's there. Surely he goes all in. He body stepped there.
Doesn't seem like he wants to commit to that. Power's just gonna play the safe way around.
Can't blame him.
You gotta take the safe option, especially since these big objectives are gonna be up. He has a teleport, so at any point he can join into these fights. I have to say though, I like the fact that Ysera has moved towards the AP option, but he's also gone for the Grusny and Dying, so it seems like a little bit of a split path here, Omo.
It is indeed, right? I mean, Power, he's going for the slow and stable play. He doesn't want to risk throwing the game. And you can't blame him because his team right now is going to find so much. Or not, do stuff flashes, but it's fine.
Well, right when you call it, they seem to have to always prove you wrong. It does seem like Cookie's maybe stepping a little bit too far. Forward locking's over by the side, and Xin Zhao is going to be the only thing between him and Domain jumping on his face.
Yes, Xin Zhao is going to be the only thing right now. And you look at Flash Wolves, they're trapped under their towers in every single lane. And I don't think they need to make any false plays here on the side of FENNEL Adversity. They just need to take it slow and steady, and they will likely just pull out to a win, right?
Well, here's the thing as well, right? FENNEL Adversity, they are playing for this kind of pick composition. Oh, did he steal it away? Sho gets the rip up as well. That's just mean. That's just rude. You don't quite mess with FENNEL Adversity, apparently. It seems they're gonna keep shoving it in. They have Ziggs as well. That's gonna be a slow tool that's going to incrementally take away these turrets, take away these objectives, and there's not much that Flash Wolves can do aside from just trying to force clear the waves. 9 dodge away from the damage from Power. He's gonna move back in onto Viscera. Let's see if he can grab this solo kill. 8-9 to get him down low. He'll commit it from the southeastern and will barely keep Viscera alive. Unfortunately, Lockin's gonna die in the process. And what is happening from Flash Wolves?
It's a 3-item Corki with both summoner spells up, and he cannot do a thing. I know we all have fond memories of Corki from the Sea Summer Cup. But the problem is this champion is not meta for Summer Super Cup. That's the one. I'm sorry, I brain farted a little bit.
There we go.
But there's a reason this champion's not meta. He gets outranged by everything. Things that don't outrange him, just get on top of him and kill him. Just like the Rengar. He's too weak right now. And look at the power that Danny and Sho are putting out. The poke, the range. It's just, they're just getting destroyed at every turn. In draft, in game plan. There is no consolation prize for Flash Wolves. There's nothing I can point towards and say Flash Wolves are doing this well, Flash Wolves are doing this better. Nothing at all. FLA, they have their number.
Omo, is this the lowest kill game that we've seen in the C Championship so far? 2 kills
you,
at
Brandon.
17 minutes? I mean,
look at that.
Flashing in for the kill onto Eason Rafi.
I think
It's not
after this
fair,
game,
buddy.
Flash Wolves, they're all veterans, but your mantle has to be gone after this.
Sure, it looks
at
like
this.
Domain, he's making it look to make
Look
it
at
even
this.
worse as well. They jump onto Bruce, a lot of damage comes through, and
Nothing
it's
you can
Show. With a couple auto attacks to secure the kill, Locking can only watch. Alright, there we go. Yeah, Super Mega Death Bomb. We're quite curious if that's going to go to the blue buff in the lane. Now they have the Baron, it's going to be so much harder for you, Sarah, to deal with.
Well, at this point, as a color caster, as an analyst, I have nothing more to say. I think the game is done. You just need to tie up the ball
Tender
at
your
the end of it.
resignation.
I handed my resignation. I was too high on Copium. Flash Wolves are not a good team. FENNEL Adversity,
boy.
they've got what it takes. They've got it going on.
Not sure if I would go that far or more. I think we're looking at peak FENNEL Adversity here. Lots of
That's
damage
true.
coming through from Danny. Almost takes down Cookie, and FENNEL Adversity have managed to find themselves in the process in bracket B in such a difficult bracket. One that we were sure was going to be dominated by the Flash Wolves. Have now seen FENNEL Adversity rise to the occasion. And looking at a potential second win, that's the Elder Cloud Drake. It's one step closer for FENNEL Adversity in this game.
And now super minions in every lane. What are we gonna see here, Grandin? We're gonna see. Oh my God, we're gonna see that, I guess. Not what I was expecting, right? I was expecting to say we're gonna see Ziggs and Varus go in, throw spells, throw bombs, throw arrows. But Domain, he throws his body and he flashes in and he pops Locking. Both summoner spells up once again. He is a 3-item cocky. He just cannot do anything. Dominance on FENNEL Adversity.
Yeah, FENNEL Adversity are now escorting the minion waves in and looking for a catch onto his Sarah. Lots of damage out from Power, but that should be it. With only 5 kills, FENNEL Adversity grab game number 2.
5 kills with 1